Night prayer in Psalm 23. 12 blessings of prosperity, health, and God's favor tonight. As the world grows quiet and the noise of the day fades away, we step into a sacred moment, a moment where heaven leans in and the soul speaks. Night is not just a time for rest, it is a time for realignment. It is where faith is refined, where trust is tested, and where divine exchange takes place. The scripture declares, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." That is not poetry, it is a position. It is the mindset of a person who understands that their source is not the economy, not people, not circumstances, but God Himself. When you say, "The Lord is my shepherd," you are making a bold declaration. I am guided, I am covered, I am provided for. And when that becomes your conviction, lack loses its authority over your life. Tonight we activate 12 blessings hidden within this powerful Psalm 1. The blessing of divine provision you shall not want. This is more than a comforting phrase. It is a declaration of divine sufficiency. It speaks to a level of confidence where your life is no longer dictated by scarcity but by the certainty of God's supply. When you recognize the Lord as your shepherd, you step into a relationship where provision is not accidental, it is intentional. A shepherd never waits for the sheep to beg before meeting its needs. The shepherd anticipates, prepares, and provides. In the same way, your life is not sustained by chance, it is sustained by divine foresight. Before a need ever appears in your reality, heaven has already made provision for it. That means your future is not empty, it is preloaded with answers. This blessing frees you from anxiety. It breaks the cycle of worry that comes from depending solely on human systems. You begin to understand that your job is not your source, your connections are not your source, and even your own strength is not your source. They are channels, but God is the source. Divine provision also requires trust. Sheep do not strategize their own survival. They follow the shepherd. In the same way, your responsibility is alignment, not anxiety. When you follow His leading, you position yourself where provision flows naturally. Tonight, rest in this truth. You are already supplied. What you need is not far away. It is already accounted for. Walk in confidence because the shepherd never fails to provide for what belongs to him. 2. The blessing of rest. He makes me lie down in green pastures. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine action. It reveals a shepherd who understands that rest is not weakness but wisdom. In a world that glorifies constant motion, this blessing calls you to a higher revelation. True prosperity begins with peace, not pressure. Notice the language, He makes me lie down. That means there are moments when God intentionally slows you down, not to delay you, but to restore you. Because a life driven by exhaustion cannot sustain the weight of purpose. If your body is tired, your mind distracted, and your spirit overwhelmed, you may be present, but you are not positioned to receive. Green pastures represent more than physical provision. They symbolize an environment of safety, nourishment, and calm. Sheep only lie down when they feel secure. In the same way, God is inviting you into a place where fear is silenced and striving is replaced with trust. Rest is not inactivity, it is alignment. It is the state where your soul becomes quiet enough to hear divine instruction. Many miss their next breakthrough because they are too busy to discern it. When you rest, you create space for clarity, for renewal, and for divine download. If you cannot rest, you cannot receive, because a restless spirit is always reaching but never absorbing. Tonight, allow the shepherd to settle your heart. Release the pressure to control everything. You are not falling behind, you are being prepared. In rest, strength is restored. In peace, prosperity begins. 3. The blessing of refreshment. He leads you beside still waters. This reveals the nature of divine care. God does not lead you into confusion, chaos, or constant turmoil. He leads you into places of calm, clarity, and renewal. Still waters are not stagnant. They are peaceful, settled, and life-giving. They represent an environment where your spirit can breathe again. In life, it is easy to become overwhelmed by noise, voices, pressures, expectations, and internal battles. But the shepherd knows that a restless soul cannot function at its highest capacity. That is why He intentionally leads you away from turbulence and into tranquility. This is not escape, it is restoration. Refreshment is more than physical relief. It is spiritual renewal. It is the moment where your inner being is recharged, where your thoughts are realigned, and where your strength is rebuilt from within. When your spirit is refreshed, your perspective changes. What once felt heavy becomes manageable. What once seemed impossible begins to look achievable. Notice that he leads you. This means refreshment is found in following, not forcing. When you try to create peace on your own terms, you often end up exhausted. But when you follow his direction, you are guided into a flow that restores rather than drains. Even now, there's a quiet work happening within you. God is settling your fears, calming your thoughts, and renewing your strength. You may not see it outwardly yet, but inwardly you are being refreshed. Stay close to the shepherd. In his presence your soul will always find still waters. For the blessing of restoration restores my soul. These 4 words carry a depth that reaches into every unseen part of your life. Restoration is not surface level repair. It is a divine process that reaches the broken places you've learned to hide, the thoughts that have grown weary, and the wounds that time alone could not heal. Life has a way of draining you. Disappointments, betrayals, delays, and silent battles can leave your soul fragmented. You may continue functioning on the outside, but inwardly something feels depleted. This is where the shepherd steps in, not to condemn your condition, but to restore your completeness. Restoration means bringing you back to your original design. It is God renewing your strength, realigning your identity, and reviving the passion that may have faded. He does not just patch you up, he rebuilds you with intention. What was lost is not gone forever. It is being recovered, renewed, and reestablished. Notice that it says he restores. This is not something you achieve through effort alone. It requires surrender. Many people try to fix themselves while holding on to the very things that broke them. But true restoration begins when you allow God access to every part of you, the visible and the hidden. Tonight, understand this. Nothing in your life is beyond repair. Every tear, every setback, every silent struggle is known by the shepherd. And even now, he is working beneath the surface, putting pieces back together in ways you cannot yet see. You are not staying broken. You are being restored, completely, intentionally, and powerfully. 5. The blessing of direction leads you in paths of righteousness. This is the assurance that your life is not left to chance, confusion, or random decisions. When the Lord is your shepherd, your steps are not scattered, they are ordered. You are not wandering aimlessly, you are being guided with divine precision. That is one of the greatest blessings you can have in life. Many people are busy, active, and even talented, but without direction, effort becomes wasted energy. Movement does not always mean progress, but when God leads you, every step carries purpose, and every turn aligns with a greater plan. The paths of righteousness are not just moral choices. They are the right paths, the ones designed specifically for your life. They may not always be the easiest or most popular, but they are always the most effective. God sees the end from the beginning, so his guidance positions you ahead of obstacles you cannot yet see. This blessing requires sensitivity. You must learn to discern his leading, whether through his word, through quiet conviction, or through divine timing. Often his direction is subtle, not loud. It requires you to slow down enough to recognize it. When you follow his path, you eliminate unnecessary detours. You avoid battles you were never meant to fight, and doors you were never meant to open. There is a confidence that comes with knowing you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Tonight, rest in this truth. Your life is being directed. Even when it feels uncertain, you are not lost. The shepherd is leading, and his path always leads to purpose. 6. The blessing of purpose for his name's sake. This phrase shifts your perspective from living by chance to living by calling. It reveals that your life is not random, accidental, or without meaning. There is a divine intention behind your existence, and every part of your journey is connected to a greater purpose. To live for his name's sake means your life carries significance beyond personal ambition. It means you were designed to reflect something greater, to reveal God's nature, his excellence, and his glory through how you live, think, and act. This is not pressure, it is privilege. It gives your life weight, direction, and meaning. Purpose answers the question, why am I here? And the answer is not found in comparison with others, but in alignment with your Creator. When you understand that your life is tied to God's purpose, you stop chasing validation from people and start walking in confidence from within. You no longer need to prove your worth. You begin to express it. This blessing also brings clarity in seasons of uncertainty. Even when things don't make immediate sense, you can trust that nothing is wasted. Every experience, every delay, every opportunity is being woven into a bigger picture. God is not improvising with your life. He is executing a plan. Tonight, let this truth settle in your spirit. You are here on purpose. Your gifts are intentional. Your journey has meaning, and your life is carrying a message that the world needs. You are not just existing, you are fulfilling purpose for His name's sake. 7. The blessing of fearlessness. Even in the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil. This is not the absence of challenges, it is the presence of courage in the middle of them. Life will bring valleys, seasons of uncertainty, pressure, and moments where the path ahead seems unclear. But this blessing declares that fear does not have the final authority over you. Notice the wording, the shadow of death. A shadow has no substance. It can appear threatening, but it cannot harm you. Many of the fears you face are shadows, projections of what could happen, not what is actually happening. And yet they can feel overwhelming if you face them alone, but you are not alone. The reason you fear no evil is not because you are strong by yourself, but because of who is with you. Presence cancels fear. When you are aware that God is with you, fear loses its grip. Anxiety weakens, doubt diminishes, and confidence rises. Not in your own ability, but in His. Fear thrives in isolation and uncertainty. But when you walk with the shepherd, you are never isolated. Even in your darkest moments, you are accompanied. That changes how you respond to adversity. Instead of retreating, you move forward with assurance. Fearlessness is not recklessness, it is trust. It is the decision to believe that no matter what you face, you are covered, protected, and guided. Tonight, whatever valley you may be walking through, remember this. It is a passage, not a destination. And with God's presence beside you, you will walk through it, unshaken and unafraid. 8. The blessing of divine presence. You are with me. These words carry a power that transforms every situation. This is not a distant, abstract idea. It is a present, active reality. The presence of God is not limited by location, circumstance, or time. Wherever you are, He is there, and that changes everything. Divine presence means you are never alone, even when you feel isolated. It means that in moments of uncertainty, you are not left to figure things out by yourself. There is a constant guidance, a quiet strength, and an unseen support walking with you through every situation. When God is with you, you are never outnumbered. It doesn't matter how many challenges rise against you or how overwhelming the situation appears. The presence of God shifts the balance. What looks impossible from a human perspective becomes manageable when you realize who stands with you. This blessing also brings confidence. Not arrogance, but a deep, settled assurance that you are backed by something greater than yourself. You begin to walk differently, think differently, and respond differently because you are conscious of His presence. Divine presence is also relational. It invites awareness. The more you acknowledge Him, the more you experience His peace, His direction, and His strength. He is not just with you in the extraordinary moments. He is with you in the ordinary ones too. Tonight, let this truth anchor your heart. You are not facing life alone. God is with you in every decision, every challenge, and every victory. And because He is with you, everything about your situation is subject to change. 9. The blessing of comfort and protection. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This statement reveals a powerful truth. God's care is not only gentle, it is also strong. The rod represents protection and the staff represents guidance. Together, they show that you are both defended and directed at the same time. The rod was a tool the shepherd used to ward off predators. It symbolizes God's authority over anything that tries to harm you, seen or unseen. There are battles you will never have to fight because God has already handled them. There are dangers you will never even know existed because His protection intercepted them before they reached you. You are defended in ways you cannot even see. The staff, on the other hand, was used to guide and gently correct. It kept the sheep on the right path and pulled them back when they strayed too far. This is a reminder that God's protection is not just about shielding you from harm, but also about keeping you aligned with purpose. Sometimes His correction is His protection. Comfort comes from knowing that you are secure, not because life has no challenges, but because you are covered through them all. Even when things feel uncertain, there is a quiet assurance that you are being watched over, guided and guarded. Tonight, rest in this confidence. You are not exposed and you are not vulnerable. The shepherd stands over your life with both authority and care. You are protected, you are guided, and you are comforted. Completely 10. The blessing of honor and elevation. Prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. This is a powerful picture of divine honor. It shows that God does not merely bless you in private, He establishes you openly. Your elevation is not something that needs to be hidden or explained. It is something God Himself orchestrates and reveals. A table represents provision, fellowship, and status. In ancient times, to be seated at a table was a sign of acceptance and honor. Here, God is not just giving you resources, He is positioning you. He is bringing you into places where you are recognized, valued, and elevated. What makes this even more profound is the setting. In the presence of your enemies. This means that opposition does not have the power to stop your advancement. In fact, it becomes the backdrop against which your elevation is displayed. Those who doubted you, misunderstood you, or worked against you will witness what God is doing in your life. This blessing removes the need for you to defend yourself or prove your worth. God takes responsibility for your promotion. Your role is not to fight for recognition, but to remain aligned and prepared. When the table is set, all you have to do is take your seat. Elevation is not about pride. It is about purpose. God lifts you so that your life becomes evidence of His faithfulness. Tonight, understand this. Your blessing is not being hidden. It is being prepared. And at the right time, God will place you where you belong, honored, established, and seen. 11. The blessing of overflow, my cup runs over. This is a declaration that goes beyond meeting basic needs. It speaks of abundance, excess, and more than enough. This is not the language of survival. It is the language of overflow. It reveals that God's intention for your life is not for you to barely get by, but to live from a place of continual supply. A cup that runs over has already been filled. That means your needs are not just met, they are exceeded. Overflow is what happens when God's provision goes beyond you and begins to impact others around you. It is not just for personal comfort. It is for influence, generosity, and expansion. This blessing changes your mindset. You stop thinking in terms of limitation and start thinking in terms of possibility. Scarcity says there is not enough. Overflow declares there is more than enough. And when you operate from that awareness, fear of lack loses its hold on you. Overflow is not just material. It includes peace, joy, wisdom, favor, and strength. It is a life where even in challenging moments, there is still something within you that continues to pour out. You are sustained from a deeper source, but overflow requires capacity. You must be willing to receive beyond your expectations and manage what God releases into your hands. It is not about excess without purpose. It is abundance with responsibility. Tonight, embrace this truth. You are not designed for shortage. Your life is positioned for overflow. And when your cup runs over, it becomes evidence that God's supply in your life is limitless and unstoppable. 12. The blessing of lifelong favor. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. This is not a temporary promise. It is a lifelong guarantee. It speaks of consistency, not chance. It declares that every day of your life is covered, not just the good days, not just the easy seasons, but all days. Notice the word surely. It removes doubt. It establishes certainty. This is not something you hope for. It is something you can expect. Goodness represents God's generosity, His willingness to bless, provide, and open doors. Mercy represents His compassion, His grace that covers your mistakes, restores you when you fall, and keeps you moving forward despite imperfections. And these are not distant blessings. They follow you. That means wherever you go, they go. You don't have to chase them. They are already assigned to your life. Even in moments when you feel undeserving or uncertain, goodness and mercy remain in pursuit of you. This blessing reshapes how you view your future. Instead of anticipating problems, you begin to expect favor. Instead of fearing failure, you trust in divine support. It builds a mindset where you wake up each day with confidence, knowing you are backed by God's continuous care. Lifelong favor does not mean life will be without challenges, but it means you will never face them without help. There will always be provision, Always be grace, always be a way forward. Tonight, rest in this assurance. Your life is covered from beginning to end. Goodness and mercy are not occasional visitors. They are permanent companions. I am not alone. I am not lacking. I am not forgotten. The Lord is my shepherd, and I have everything I need. Prosperity is not just about money, it is about alignment. Health is not just physical, it is wholeness. Favor is not luck, it is divine positioning. And as you close your eyes tonight, may peace settle over you. May clarity rise within you, and may blessings chase you down. Not tomorrow, not someday, but starting now, because when the Lord is your shepherd, everything changes. Amen.